Ukraine claims a historic first at sea, saying it disabled a Russian submarine docked at Novorossiysk using underwater drones. Moscow, however, denies any damage occurred, sparking new tensions in the Black Sea. According to the Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU, the operation involved Ukrainian-made Sub-Sea Baby drones. A strike on a diesel-electric submarine at the port of Novorossiysk. This is where Russia has relocated vessels from Crimea to keep them out of Ukrainian reach. Footage released by the SBU shows a powerful explosion erupting from the water near the docked submarine. News agency Reuters confirmed the location based on the port's layout and piers. Alexander Commission, an advisor to President Zelensky, hailed the strike, calling it the first time in history that an underwater drone neutralized a submarine, a claim Russia's Black Sea Fleet rejected outright. The fleet, quoted by Russian state media, said none of the ships or submarines stationed in the bay of the Novorossiysk naval base, nor their crews were damaged. All are on duty as normal. The targeted submarine reportedly carries at least 4 Kalibr cruise missiles. These are the missiles which are capable and responsible for striking Ukrainian power grids and military positions. Over the last several months, Ukraine, with virtually no navy left, has increasingly relied on drones and missiles to harass Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Ukrainian Navy spokesman Dmytro Platenchuk described the operation as hitting the hardest target, as he calls it another turning point in Ukraine's naval war strategy. He added that repairing the submarine would expose it to further attacks. Before Russia's denial, Platenchuk said the fleet had lost one of its 4 submarines in Novorossiysk, 3 of which are capable of carrying Kalibr missiles, highlighting the strategic importance of the operation. This would be the second such attack on a Russian submarine, if confirmed. The first occurred in September 2023, when a missile and uncrewed surface vessel struck the Rostov-on-Don in Sevastopol. Details on the Sub-Sea Baby UUV remain scarce. However, Ukraine's development of unmanned surface and underwater vessels is well documented. In September 2023, Kyiv unveiled the Marikai, a kamikaze underwater drone. Later, in February 2025, it introduced another unmanned vessel, the Toloka, further expanding its fleet of sea drones. From early in the conflict, Ukrainian sea drones have repeatedly damaged or sunk Russian vessels, forcing the fleet to withdraw from Crimea and the Black Sea, keeping Moscow on the defensive. The Sea Baby unmanned surface vessels and the Mogora-class drones have wreaked havoc on Russian ships. Cost-effective and unmanned, these vessels allow Kyiv to strike without risking human crews. In the last 3 years, Ukraine has launched several naval firsts, including downing a Su-30 fighter jet and an Mi-8 helicopter, using missiles fired from unmanned surface vessels. FPV drones launched from sea have also entered the battlefield. These operations have pioneered a new era of drone warfare, where unmanned vessels serve as motherships for aerial drones, a model, according to experts, likely to be adopted by militaries worldwide. Russia is now playing catch-up, re-engineering Ukrainian designs to field its own offensive and defensive unmanned surface vessels. Meanwhile, the United States has launched major programs like the Pentagon's Replicator Initiative to develop thousands of autonomous naval vessels. Countries like Taiwan are following suit, building sea drone capabilities to counter technologically superior naval forces, particularly China. The underwater domain is a new frontier in asymmetric warfare. On the other hand, the latest strike follows a tense period of U.S.-brokered peace talks. Ukraine appears to be signaling it can inflict significant damage, countering claims by former U.S. President Donald Trump that Zelensky did not have the cards in negotiations.
We are now in the midst of the most intense and focused negotiations for peace since the beginning of this war, for true lasting peace. And we are not talking about a pause or a temporary uncertain solution. We are working closely with partners to finally end this Russian war against Ukraine and through Ukraine against the very essence of life in Europe. Together with partners, we are working not only to stop the bloodshed, but to change the situation along Russia's borders so there is no opportunity to start another war. And we understand that criminals don't change in a day. That's why the talks these days are not only about ceasefire, but about security guarantees. This is not only about diplomacy, not only about physical security. It's also about making Russia finally learn to live by the rule of law. And it will only work if there is true accountability, if the punishment of the aggressor becomes inevitable. Yes, it's not easy, but it's not as difficult as some may try to portray it. We have already done a great job. Now we simply need to press forward and bring the criminal to justice. This Sunday and Monday in Berlin, we held really intensive talks with President Trump's team and with Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, others, members of the team, and we're working in a great detail on documents that could stop the war and guarantee security. This is very important. And every single detail matters. Why? Because not a single detail must become a reward for Russia's aggression. If the aggressor receives a reward, he starts to believe that war pays off. And that is why justice must be central to ending this war.
From drones to missiles, Ukraine is expanding its naval and coastal operations, targeting Russian military, oil, and gas assets, even as Moscow publicly dismisses claims of any submarine damage.